Hello everyone and welcome to Seal Lounge. Also, happy 10th anniversary to the Hand That Feeds HQ! It is overwhelming hitting such a milestone for a project that was meant to just be a pastime. Instead, it ended up being a big part of what I do, and here we are, 10 years later, and the Hand That Feeds HQ is still covering MailCU music releases, and it's now celebrating its anniversary. It's unbelievable and yet kind of awesome. I have been preparing stuff for these big milestones this last year, however, I wasn't too sure about what should I do to celebrate it. After brainstorming on interesting concepts and projects to kick off, I came up with the idea of creating a podcast, something I've been meaning to return to since 2005. You know, when people still call this thing a radio show instead of a podcast. Well, jokes aside, this is something that I was meaning to give it a try, and I hope it is a good addition to the Hand That Feeds HQ's whole project. Anyway, welcome to CU Lounge, a podcast powered by the Hand That Feeds HQ. Let's kick off this episode. Once again, welcome to CU Lounge. I am your host, Vanessa, the Hand That Feeds HQ's founder and content creator. Today's episode is a brief and laid-back one to let you in on why this podcast was created and what you can expect from here on. For 10 years, the Hand That Feeds HQ has underwent several changes, from being a personal blog in which I talked and reviewed music by MailCU, to a full-fledged website, to even having a team, and now going back to basics while fully embracing the freedom of owning a website, and finally being in control of the content I create, how I create it, and deliver it to you. So therefore, there have been a whole lot of changes over this decade. My approach to this website also got more serious around 2018 when I decided to give a shot on taking this website and the support that I'm trying to give MailCU to greater heights, promoting and supporting MailCU in their music endeavors in a more professional way, and bringing together MailCU fans in a safe place where no one is judged and there's only good vibes. Yet if you notice, for 10 years I have been writing content. And back then, when the Hand That Feeds HQ had a team, we only wrote content. There was no other way to express our love and knowledge or simply geek about MailCU and music. Now, times have changed and I really wanted to do something new with this project. At the same time, I wanted to do a podcast or a radio show for a long time. The Hand That Feeds HQ's 10th anniversary is a big milestone, and celebrating it with a simple post on social media sounded rather bland to me. So I wanted to create something that people that don't have the time to read something would still enjoy following. A quick way to get their news or bits of information about MailCU without the hassle of having to browse a website. You're still welcome to visit the Hand That Feeds HQ's website because it was recently revamped and it now looks awesome on mobile, and although it's still getting tweaked on desktop, I believe it is looking pretty damn well. But think of this podcast as a way to keep up with interesting things, not all the news though, about your favorite MailCU, and all on the go. So the opportunity appeared, and here we are, me talking with you through a podcast. CU Lounge is going to be a weekly podcast with episodes being released on Fridays at 6 p.m. WET, which basically means Western European Time, which is my time zone here in Portugal. It translates for those in the US and Latin America to Friday mornings, and for those in Asia, Saturday mornings. I intend to, of course, create and nurture a podcast that even those of you that are only now or recently came across mostly you and their music can enjoy. I also want to satisfy your curiosity and teach you new things that will later enable you to comfortably navigate this rich and fascinating industry. But I see you guys, I really do, and those of you that are already knowledgeable about MailCU and the music industry, or even know about music composition and singing as an art, you guys already know a lot, and I would love to, first of all, engage with you and get to learn new things. That's why the comment section is open on YouTube. So if you guys know more, and you perhaps know, and most of you basically must know more than myself, I want to learn from you, of course. This is not a one-way conversation. And especially if you guys know much more than I do, please leave it in the comments, because there are other people, and especially the newcomers that I was mentioning before, that will want to know those things, and I might not be able to reach everyone in the comments. So please do dish out your knowledge, because we're all learning here. And like I said before, this is a pretty laid-back episode, and all episodes from now on will be just as laid-back. Now, why CU Lounge? Well, as some of you might already know, especially those that have read my music reviews on the website, I am a big fan of those smoky jazz club vibes and laid-back lounges in the summer. I believe those two settings are perfect spots for people to hang out, relax, and have fun. Just imagine sitting back, enjoying the view as the sun sets, all while you drink and hang out with your friends to chill music in the background. That's the life. My intentions with CU Lounge aren't going all-out educational route, so don't worry. Although I might dip my feet from time to time to explain more complex topics, but the focus is to hang out with you. And even if we are in different places around the world, we can talk about something we love basically in common, which is MailCU and music. Also, worth noting that CU Lounge is a simple and easy to remember name, so I am pretty aware that the website's name is not the easiest to remember, so I try to avoid doing that again, and thus we have the podcast name being CU Lounge, which is simpler and easier to find and to remember. What can you expect of CU Lounge's format? That's an interesting topic that I want to dive a little bit now. I don't want to showcase everything that I will be doing, because some things might be scrapped later on due to time constraints, and others might be added, so I don't want to dish out much about the format, but I will tell you the things that I have already decided, and that will be kind of like a rule around here. Each episode will be at most 30 minutes long. There will be shorter episodes, of course, depending on the themes or topics explored. Episodes will feature a brief free talk section, if I have something to add. If not, I will do a quick introduction of this theme, and we'll kick off to explore it, which is the next section. And then if it works, I'll add a corner for your questions. I will be taking questions and I will be replying to your comments. And if there are comments, of course, I will choose 1 up to 3 that will be answered or commented by myself. So please leave comments in the comment section below. I'm repeating the word comments too much, but you get the gist. At the same time, and I don't want to basically start selling anything, but I wanted to let you guys know, because we already are going to have some special episodes in a couple of weeks that are due to this incredible feature. there is a possibility for you to be a producer of CU Lounge. So if you want to, you can of course subscribe to the B rank CU supporter tier on Patreon or higher. And if you do, you can work alongside me to create 4 or 8 episodes completely focused on the theme you want to explore, provided of course that it is related to male CU and their music. A side note, of course, since this is a podcast to celebrate male CU and their work, I would appreciate if you guys played nice with each other in the comment section. If that isn't possible, the comments will be closed, and of course the idea of featuring your comments or your questions in the podcast will also be scrapped. And just like that, we have reached the end of this pilot episode. You got to know a little bit about CU Lounge and what awaits you in terms of content. I would also like to thank you all for supporting the Hand That Feeds HQ throughout all these years. Thank you very much for being here and witnessing the growth that the Hand That Feeds HQ has gone through, and everything else, even the least good moments that we had. So thank you all, and here's to 10 more years. Hope you guys, of course, enjoyed this little surprise. For some people it wasn't a surprise, those on Patreon already knew that the podcast was coming, but I hope you guys enjoyed this little surprise and stick for the long run, because every week there will be episodes. And I want, of course, to engage with you all as much as possible and make this a really, really cool project, supported, of course, by the website. Here's to more awesome male CU content and music reviews. Thank you guys for listening, and see you guys around.